Welcome to Good Books Lately. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Taylor, and we have been reading some good books lately. We have a lot to share with you guys today. We have each finished, I think, a couple books apiece, and we have finished a book together, and we want to get into all of that. But before we do that, we want to send a big thank you to everyone who has taken a chance on this little corner of YouTube here.
Yeah, it's really cool to see how many people have already started to send their support.
Yeah.
And comment and like and are jumping on board.
And joining us on this little journey, this little thing that we're doing together. It's really cool.
So let's jump right into it. We're going to go ahead and get into our section.
Done and dusted.
Right, and we got a bunch.
Yeah, we have a bunch. Things that we finished.
Yeah.
And do you want to do it first this time?
Sure. I finished the Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. When I last talked about it, I said it was kind of silly. Or I wasn't, just getting started. I had just finished another one, was picking it back up.
Okay, here, wait.
Yeah.
One sentence synopsis. That's our thing. We're going to do one sentence synopsis.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically...
Yeah, but, tighten it up. Let's hear it. One sentence.
Well, the four retirees solved not one, but two, and potentially even three murders while being, the most British they can be.
I like that. That's good. And that comes from the heart, from deep down in our hearts.
Yeah, we love British television.
British television. All right.
You want to do your next, or your done and dust, or do you want me to go through my next one?
Go ahead. Let's alternate. I think that's a good idea if you don't mind. Okay.
No problem.
My first finished, done and dusted is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. There. I don't know why I'm doing this. I know I'm going to put it up on the screen. This is dark fantasy, gothic fantasy, romance, and it is so good. I loved this, but this was very much, I don't know if I talked about this on the last one.
I don't even think you were.
This was very much another one of those, I'm going to just see how it goes, because it's kind of out of my comfort zone. I don't usually read romantasy. I started it, and I could not stop reading it. I devoured this book. Yeah. The magic system in this is fantastic. But
all right, one sentence synopsis.
Okay.
Put me on the spot again.
Put me on the spot. Okay, this is a young girl in a world where magic is brought on by illness, and people are persecuted for that, having this illness and then subsequent magic. A young girl has to hide it to survive. And it's really good. If you want a nice, dark, gothic, romantic fantasy, something that's a duology, it's only 2 books, that has a really solid magic system, this is a really good one.
Yeah,
for that.
cool.
So I really love that. So this is done. I gave this on Goodreads 5 stars. I get 4.5 stars. I said if I didn't already have the second book on my shelf, I'd be grabbing my keys and heading out to get it right now. Love the story, love the whole vibe. The only reason I'm not giving it 5 stars is because the story's not finished yet.
Yeah.
So it's only because I haven't finished it yet.
Right.
So that, in my opinion, is a 5-star book. Loved it. If you want something new for fantasy, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What about you?
All right. Another book I think I talked about last time was the Road.
Had you started it last time?
I think I was about to start it, or maybe just got into the first couple pages. I sped through this once I finished the Thursday Murder Club.
Right.
Definitely kind of like a different style of writing than I'm used to. There are some gut-wrenching, some vulgar scenage in here.
Did you just say scenage?
Sorry, scene.
No, don't apologize.
But anyway, yeah, some stuff that's tough to read a little bit, especially if you have children. Really kind of interesting. I don't want to spoil anything, but it does kind of come to an interesting ending, I think. I would not recommend this to everyone outright. This is definitely one of those ones that you kind of got to be in the right mindset to read.
Well, give it a 1-sentence synopsis really quick. I know did you give it a 1-sentence synopsis in the last video?
Did. What is it? In a
post-apocalyptic
landscape, father and his son are walking down the road, trying to survive and holding out hope.
He told me some things about this book, not spoilery things, and I'm not going to say anything about it either, but he gave me little blips and things along the way. And I will tell you that if you're sensitive to things like horror, I'm not even going to tell you.
I think it's only a little under 300 pages long.
That's nice.
So you fly through it, but you feel it
Yeah.
when you read it. So that's my second done and dusted. since the last video.
Okay. All right, moving on. This is another one. So in the last video that we did, it was a thrift haul. You grab your head. We did a thrift haul where we talked about some books that we picked up at a thrift store, and I had one book that was not picked up at a thrift store. It was picked up at a free library near us, and it is Verity. Oh, there it is. Baby, will you bring yourself over here? I don't know why I'm making such a big deal out of this. But it's Verity by Colleen Hoover. So I talked about this being one that I was kind of compelled by. And in the comment section of that video, somebody was like, warned me against this book, saying like,
you got like multiple people.
Yeah.
Family, friends.
Right. Telling me like, wow, I can't wait to see how you feel about this and the ending, whatever. Okay. So I went into this more like intrigued at what everybody was talking about. Like, what's all the fuss? I don't get it. And I wanted to read it. And also things like sublimely creepy with a true Hoover pulse. I've been waiting for a thriller like this for years, kind of a thing. Riveting and unexpected, impossible to put down. This book is really hard to put down.
Yeah, you flew through this one too.
It took me less than 2 days to read this. And, okay. So let's talk about this for a minute. This is a thriller. This book is just, the story is an absolute train wreck. I don't mean that in the quality of the story. I mean, the story is compelling as all get out, but the stuff that happened in this book,
some of the stuff you just shared with me, snippets,
wild.
I was like, wow.
I don't even know how to give a one-sentence synopsis of this, because I feel like the back of the book is a really great way to put it, but like one sentence really quick off the cuff. A writer who's kind of, I guess you could say, down on her luck, gets thrown into this interaction with a man who turns out to be someone who is going to be helping fund her next big job that could really ultimately be what she needs to get out of like a financial situation. Turns out now we're in the second sentence. She's being tasked to like write the continuation of a series that this man's wife would otherwise write if she wasn't injured from an accident. She can't write the next part of the series, so she's tasked to do that. But she learns in the process of doing research while in the family home, staying there, some really wild stuff. I don't know. That's the best I could do. Yeah. This book literally left me speechless. I wanted to chuck it across the floor.
Yeah, make sure you check out the Instagram post.
Yes, check out my Instagram post and my Goodreads review of this. Honestly, it's the best way for me to share with you my thoughts on this. Read the trigger warnings if you're not sure about certain things, because there are things in here, if you're like a new mother, you just want to be careful.
Sounds very graphic.
And it's also, when it comes to spiciness, the spice level of this is like through the roof. There's just so many times where I felt like I was sitting here reading this book and I was just like, it's an experience, I'll tell you that much. I would not recommend this freely. I would tell you my thoughts on it. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads because I think that it accomplished what it was intended to accomplish. Read my review. But I wouldn't just say, yeah, great book, go read Verity, it's a great time. No, like, you need to be in the right, like, I would never recommend this to my mom, ever.
Yeah.
And I almost, like, if she were reading this book, I would be hesitant to even tell her I read it. And that's because of the sexy stuff alone. I don't know if talking about my thoughts on the ending, if you don't want to know anything about the ending or even hearing my thoughts about the ending feels spoilery to you, just I'll put a little timestamp at the bottom to let you know this is where you go, and I will be done talking about it. The ending of this, in my opinion, provided a plot twist that was unnecessary. The final plot twist of this story could have been omitted and the book would be memorable. But that last plot twist, if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. That last plot twist that they add to this, in my opinion, takes it from being something that is memorable and just like, oh my God, what just happened to me, to being something like, what the just happened? I'm giving this book away. Done and dusted.
Dusted. Get it out of here.
Get it out of here.
Yeah. All right.
Is that it? Are you done?
No, I have one more I just finished yesterday.
Oh, nice.
It's I don't have the physical copy because I've been listening to it. Yeah, it'll pop up on the screen, but it's Paladin's Strength. I did a little short where I talked about my surprise and excitement for that series of books, The Saint of Steel. I had finished Paladin's Grace, the first one in the series, and then I just finished Paladin's Strength. What an amazing series by T. Kingfisher. I would never pick these books up on my own if we hadn't read that.
So out of like your realm of reading.
What Moves the Dead.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to like see what else she wrote.
Do you feel like you've stretched your comfort zone? Like you
A
feel
little
like it's
bit.
way out of
Yeah,
your
I'm
comfort zone?
not. What did we call it last time? Romantasy.
I mean, from the way you're
Kind of.
describing it to me, it sounds like it, but it almost sounds like more like high fantasy,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I mean,
epic fantasy with
little
romance
bit.
involved.
But yeah, it's definitely, and what's kind of cool is they're building on or she builds on the story of the first one, but with new characters that you were introduced into for some most part in the first one, in the second one, so you get kind of a new love interest, new
There's a
story.
series by Nora Roberts for anybody out there who's a fan of Nora Roberts. I think she has a few series like this, but there's one, and it's like the Irish series,
think
and
I've
like
seen-
Born in Ice, Born in Fire, Born in something else.
Yeah.
And each story is about a different member of the family and their love interest,
Okay.
but they're all like in the
Yeah.
same. And
Yeah. So yeah, it's similar to that. You get introduced to these characters, and you're kind of starting to learn about this new female character, and how they're going to connect with the paladin that's in this story. Because it seems like each one is going to be a different paladin that's going to be focused on.
is that what is that? Like a species?
It's no paladin is kind of like a knight or like
okay.
a soldier for a god. Their god has died, and so they're kind of paladins without a god, and they're kind of lost a little bit. It kind of ties in a storyline from the first book, and it kind of finishes that storyline as well, which is really cool. It gets a callback to some of those characters.
I love that.
Yeah, it's great, and so much so that once I finished Paladin's Strength, I went ahead and borrowed on the Hoopla app the third in the series, Paladin's Hope, and I just started listening to that today. I'm about 10% in on that while I was out disc golfing in the morning.
And speaking of that, like I don't know if it matters, but we will distinguish whether or not we're listening to something or reading it.
Yeah.
For the most part, everything we're sharing with you is a physical copy of a book, other than like the things. And then I'm listening to Moby Dick.
Yeah, but
Just take it.
Eventually.
I'll be listening to Moby Dick for a while. So
yeah, so those are my,
that's your done and dusted.
yeah, then we had one together.
One together, we did it.
Boom. We talked about this last time.
Yes. So we finished Riley Sager's The House Across the Lake. I almost called it The Lake House. The House Across the Lake. We talked about this on the last episode of the podcast. And we were in a place where we were thinking we kind of knew what was going on, and we
Hoping
were
for a twist.
Yeah, we were hoping for something to change. We didn't want it to be, like you said, telegraphed to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shortly after that video, things changed.
Not only was there a twist, there was another twist.
Well, and not only was there a twist, there
there
was
was
almost
a
like a
fake
genre
twist.
shift.
Yeah, and a fake twist.
A fake twist, a weird, like, the first twist kind of
Keeps
is
you guessing.
accompanied by, like, a genre twist.
But don't- yeah.
A little, I'm not going to say anymore.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, but it keeps you guessing.
It does keep you guessing. What did I write about this? Hold on, I wrote some notes. I wrote notes about Verity, and I forgot to mention some of
Yeah.
them, but for the most part, okay, so what I wrote,
Yeah.
before we get into, like, the twist and all that, the writing is okay, definitely could do with fewer F words, and I have no problem with F words in a book, is fine. But I feel like sometimes they get thrown in kind of lazily as
Just
like
for show.
Yeah, just for show. But then when you're reading it out loud, and here's the thing, because we're reading it out loud to one another
At night.
you realize how unnatural they are. And it's not like I don't have a problem. It's nighttime, the kids are asleep, it's fine. I do find myself kind of saying it under my breath. But you realize as you're reading the dialogue and you throw it out there because it's written, that you're like, okay, this wouldn't be there. This
Yeah.
isn't the appropriate place for it. And it was too many. Another thing, I enjoyed the setting, and I could really easily visualize
Yeah,
everything.
you kind of have like a background though with that, like your grandma kind of.
Yeah, so my grandma lived in Lake Arrowhead, California. We
Kind of a
spent a
similar
lot of time in
situation.
Big Bear, California, and even though it's the West Coast, different from like a Vermont lake place, you kind of get the vibe of what that would look like, which I really appreciated. That
Yeah.
very cool. If you want to read this in the fall, love
yeah.
that. In this story, and this isn't a spoiler, and maybe this is like a trigger warning, but I don't think so. Maybe the alcoholism and the alcohol abuse, and this is what I wrote.
Yeah.
The alcohol abuse was absurdly overwritten. It felt like it came from the imagination of someone who had never dealt with alcoholism. And then I added, of course, I wouldn't know, okay, because I've not dealt with alcoholism
Yeah.
either personally or within my family.
But it's definitely like a main bit that
It
that
is.
the author hits on.
Do
a
you
lot.
think that it's necessary to the extent that it was written?
I think you could have taken out a couple of the times where I'm pouring another bourbon, or I'm
it was just
pouring
like-
my fourth one, or how
Like,
I
we
think-
get that she's an alcoholic. We get why she's an alcoholic.
and then you get it again
And then,
when
yeah.
you really realize why she's an alcoholic.
Right. But I just felt like, okay, like there's other ways to illustrate that a person is suffering from
Yeah.
alcoholism than it is done in here. It just kind of comes off very crass.
Yeah.
And maybe splashing like a real life issue that people have like in front of your face for shock value.
Yeah.
I didn't love that so much. Whatever. I think it could have been more not delicately done, but more like.
I will say that as we were reading this, I was envisioning Carrie Fisher as the main character.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like
I can
just
kinda see
because of the
that.
way the character's written and her like the background of like, you know, their background and just kind of what you know about Carrie Fisher, I could kind of see that like a younger Carrie Fisher.
Like Carrie Fisher from The Burbs.
Yeah, around that era after
Right.
Star Wars.
The Burbs is a good voyeuristic movie, but it's a comedy, but it's really good.
Yeah.
One more thing, sorry.
no worries.
Because I was reading some of the reviews, and I feel like a lot of people read books like this wearing this like literary critic hat. It's like, don't read this book with some kind of literary critic
Yeah, this is
intention.
fun.
It's a fun read. Read it for the escape. Read it for like a fun story. It's like you don't sit around a campfire and listen to people tell stories and then criticize the plot
The
holes
way
in their
or
story,
the way
right?
it's told.
That's or the way that it's told. That's not what this is for. So don't go into this thinking like, oh well, you know, this and this, and even the things I said about the F word and how the alcohol abuse was like,
Yeah.
even that it didn't bother me. It didn't cause me to take a star away. It's just like,
Yeah, we enjoyed it and we
yeah,
recommend it.
We had a great time.
Easily.
And all the little plot twists and stuff, we would look at each other like, what?
Yeah.
But that's done and dusted.
Yeah,
and
done
we
and dusted.
enjoyed it.
Perfect. Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. All right. Now we can move on to bookmarked, what we're currently reading.
Bookmarks, what we're currently reading.
What has bookmarks in them.
Yeah, it's in
right.
between the pages, the sheets.
Yeah. So I have two going, all right, three if you count the audiobook I'm listening to. The first one is the one I'm leaving on the couch during the day to read, and it's the one I talked about as my compelling pickup, The Spy and the Traitor, nonfiction. I always like to make sure I have some nonfiction in there. This is
Me is necessary.
really cool. Again, it's about about a KGB operative or spy during the Cold War era, late 1960s, early 70s. Because of his background, becomes disenfranchised with Russia or the Soviet Union at that time, and what communism is happening and what
Do you
they're
mean disillusioned?
disillusioned. Yeah, that's what I mean. He gets approached by people that work with MI6, the British spy agency, and he turns coat. He starts giving them information. I haven't gotten too far into it. I'm about almost a little less than 100 pages in. So
Where are we with it? Is it a thumbs up, a thumbs to the side, or a thumbs
No,
down?
I'm into it. I'm getting, not only am I getting intrigue and spy stuff, but I'm also getting the historical background of some things. I'm learning about Copenhagen and Denmark and the difference between what life was like for this guy when he was in Russia, in Moscow, and what it's like for him when he's in Denmark. And there's funny stuff that's happening to him or his experiences. So yeah, I'm in.
Like going to the porn store.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
getting some-
going to the red light district, getting some.
bringing some porn home.
Yeah, that was fun. But after we're done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and read some more on it. So yeah.
Cool.
What about you? What's your bookmark
Okay,
right now?
my bookmarked right now. Now that I finished Verity,
fresh.
it's fresh. Yeah, I only have one book, so I want to have two books going, because you know, and I want them to be relatively different moods, I guess. But right now, the only one that I have a bookmark in, is this one, which is the sequel to the One Dark Window. So you have One Dark Window and the Two Twisted Crowns duology, folks. This is,
two.
and I have read, this dose. I have read a few books in the last month that have sequels, but this is the first one where I was like immediately needed to go out and get the next one. And so this is Twisted Crowns. It's a continuation of One Dark Window. I don't know what percentage I am, but it's 79, page 79. And I love it. I don't really know what to say about it yet, because I feel like if I give you too much of a synopsis here, it's gonna spoil that. But yeah,
No.
This book is written in a format where each chapter follows a different element of the magic system. Like you're being introduced to an element of the magic system, and each chapter kind of follows this element. I don't know how else to explain this. Read it. It's so good. This next one, because now the magic system has been established.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah, the chapters follow each POV. So the POV changes per chapter, like kind of like Game of Thrones, if you've read that. And I love that so much.
Yeah,
So that's what I have in my bookmarked.
All right. Yeah. So
I
I'll
love it.
finish out my
Yeah,
bookmark.
do it.
The other one, my bedtime book,
A bedtime.
is just a fun. I'm a Star Wars nerd geek. I'm wearing a Star Wars themed shirt, drinking out of the Star Wars
Show
themed
that mug. Look at it.
mug.
Camp
Endor,
Endor.
the X-wing series, #1 Rogue Squadron. It's good. I'm into it. It's just like what I like in a Star Wars.
We're gonna do a video where he goes through his favorite Star Wars books because he's got a whole bunch back here on
they're
this
actually
shelf over
they're
here.
over there now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of them are. I listen to a lot of the audio versions of them too, so I have a lot of those. So yeah, I'm into that. It's got Wedge Antilles, which is a character from New Hope.
Is he
And he's the X-wing fighter, one of Rogue Squadron with Luke Skywalker there. And then, like I said, I'm listening on audiobook version of the next in the Stain of Steel series, Paladin's Hope. I'm already intrigued with this new plot, this new mystery that they're trying to solve. It's good. I think I'm gonna enjoy it.
See, it's so nice when you have like everything. It's a package deal. You've got the political intrigue part. You've got the romance part.
Yeah.
You might have some spice in this one. The other two were spicy, weren't they?
Well, there's like a little, it leads up to spice towards the end. Oof. You get it. It's kind of like semi-closed door, like that. They get started and then they cut.
Oh my gosh, semi-closed door. This book, you guys, there's nothing closed door about this.
It's on stage.
It is ridiculous.
That's our bookmark. Those are the ones we're reading currently. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and move right into compelling pickups. Now this sorry.
Should we talk about what we are planning on reading?
Ooh. Yes, together. Now that we're done.
Together. It's not
this one.
It's not this one.
Yeah.
But it's
Agatha Christie.
Go classic mystery.
Right.
Thriller.
Murder at the Vicarage. We picked this up at the thrift store the other day.
We got this one at the Henderson Library bookstore.
That's right. It's like, what, $1? It's virtually brand new. Yeah. So we're going to get into some Agatha Christie together. But yeah, I think this will be fun after the Riley Sager book to kind of see how a classic writer handles this kind of content. Yeah. I'm really excited. So that's our compelling pickup and TBR for together reading.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll start with compelling pickups. This isn't necessarily a TBR, but in my case, this might be a TBR for me. This is called The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. Look at that beautiful cover.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I love this. It says a thing of uncanny, chilling beauty, hauntings, exorcism, incantations, forbidden love, transports one to a world where love triumphs over demons. What sold me on this, I was at Walmart we're getting some Lego paraphernalia for the boys, and we were in the book section, and I picked this up and read some of the reviews on Goodreads. One of the reviews says it's like Rebecca meets Mexican Gothic. I have Mexican Gothic, but I haven't read it yet, but I can't wait to. And I was like, I'm sold. Yeah. I'm sold. It's Mexican. Like, we've got like Mexican like cultural influence here, which that's half of my family. Yeah. I like that. So I kind of like the vibe where we live in the Southwest. It's just, I love it. It's a whole package. I'm excited to start reading this. It says on here, in the aftermath of the Mexican War of Independence, a young woman is certain that her wealthy new husband and his remote estate will save her, but something sinister lurks within the hacienda's walls, and I can't wait. I'm excited to read this. So that is my most compelling pickup at the moment, and I probably will follow that up with Mexican Gothic.
Or vice versa.
Or,
Yeah. All right, my compelling pickup was also bought the same trip, even though we've been around different.
Oh, that was Walmart. Yeah,
this is also Walmart. As you guys know, I kind of realized I've really enjoyed Stephen King. I picked up The Body because I didn't realize that this is the story that they adapted the movie Stand By Me.
Right.
And so I grew up watching that movie. I loved it, and I'm going to see what the differences are from what I know of Stand By Me. People keep feeding me what's your favorite Stephen King, because I have getting them.
You've gotten
in the
so
comments.
many good recommendations in the comments.
Yeah, it's like, all right, enough. I got my TBR. I got my.
I know. It's like filling up our TBRs.
But it's good.
It's the best. I love it so much.
Yeah. So what we got?
What's
quote of the day?
A quote of the day. I don't have the greatest quote. And I only am doing this because I just like the cadence of it, okay? And also I'm a knitter and a yarn dyer, and I like anything related to wool, okay? And this is from One Dark Window, and it says, "The mist was too thick, as if spun of sheep's wool, magical and smelling of salt. The mist blanketed all of blunder in gray."
Hey, I like it.
That?
Yeah, that's kind of like very magical.
Atmospheric. Yeah. And the mist is a really important aspect of that. So that's my quote.
Okay. Yeah, my quote is from The Spy and the Traitor. It's a short one, and I just thought it was kind of clever. And it's, "Outside fiction, spying seldom goes exactly according to plan."
Oh, that's good.
So you know, you often read about spies in these fiction novels, and it always works out. James Bond, or you know, all these different kinds of spies where everything kind of just works out for them in the end. This is a nonfiction book about spies, and they're, you know, you see some of the calamities that happen, or some of the mistakes, or some of the ways they get tripped up. So I thought that was kind of cool to put the nonfiction vibe on it.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's good. I like it. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Thank you guys so much for all of your support, for everything here on the channel. If you took value from today's video or enjoyed yourself at any time, give the video a
Big old thumbs up, like
thumbs
it.
up, like it,
You got to subscribe it.
subscribe it, all those little things.
And leave some comments down. Tell us if you've read any
Yes.
of the books that we are currently reading, or one of the pickups.
Yeah.
Let me know how anybody thinks about The Body. I haven't heard anybody mention The Body when they talk about Stephen King, so
Yeah.
let me know what I'm into.
Tell me what you think about Verity and the ending. I like that whole dialogue. It's kind of fun. But until we see you guys again, have a great day and happy reading, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.